Social justice warriors, for want of a better term, do not seem to understand why people don't like them, why people hate them, why people oppose them. So I'm going to explain why it is that I do. And that way, at least you've got one point of reference. And I suppose that's a good place to start. I don't like you because you make no effort to understand why people disagree with you, don't go along with you, oppose what you're saying. Instead, you impose your own explanations onto people for why they might oppose you. You call them things like racist or sexist or whatever else you happen to want to in that particular moment. Whatever lets you ignore them, not listen to them, not address their arguments or points. A lot of people have bad and spurious points, but they'll never know because you never stop to explain to them. You just label them and move on. I don't like you because you claim to be on the left and you're not. I'm an ardent left-wing anarchist and have been since, I guess I was 16, 17. And you've taken a vibrant intellectual left and turned it into this quivering, miserable pile of triggered fuckwits. And the only times you seem to come out of your hole is to attack and censor other people. That isn't in line with left-wing or liberal philosophy at all. You have betrayed every value that the left has ever espoused in its philosophy. And you have no good explanation for it, only excuses. I don't like you because you have elevated the subjective opinion over and above even the attempt to be objective. You see, subjectivity is something to be embraced, not to be overcome in order to get to the facts. If you don't like something, it's not sufficient for you not to like it. It must not exist. You must reframe it as some great societal evil. When it comes to information, you elevate anecdote above data. You would much rather listen to people's stories than drill down and get to the truth, the overarching reality of what's going on. And that means you can never successfully address those problems, so long as you insist on this data-free, objectivity-free mindset. It's self-defeating. I don't like you because you attempt to censor and control the expression of others, even people who broadly agree with you. Those who don't, though, they don't even get the slightest chance to express their point of view. Never mind that your progress and traction into society has come from those very same free speech principles. The moment you get a whiff of power, you use it and abuse it to control others, whether it's financial power, whether it's mob social power, whether it's political power. The instant you get any, you use it to try and quash any and all opposition. I don't agree with your opposition, but I do think they have a right to speak, and you keep trying to take that away from them. And not just them, artists, writers, musicians, shop stores, anybody you don't agree with is subject to this censorship. And that's antithetical to left and liberal values. I don't like you because you're anti-science. It used to be said that reality has a left-wing bias, but that was when the left was sane and used to operate on a much more scientific basis, and the right were the ones invoking God and God knows what else to try and get their way. Now though, you've lost your grip. Why do you think anti-vaccination is so rife in the liberal left, in the kinds of places that should be progressive? I'm not always just talking about the extremes like decolonise science or decolonise mathematics, which is stupid. I'm not even necessarily just talking about feminist biology. It's just there's this idea that somehow objective scientific processes are sexist or racist or whatever else. It's just insane. And even if it's not taken to that degree, that's the place the Catholic Church was in with Galileo. I don't like you because you claim to be for all the same things that I am, equality and freedom and so on, but you're not. You don't look to make people the same in terms of their rights. You don't look to make people the same in terms of their opportunities and their access to services and so on. No, you want to treat people in different groups specially, differently. You want to create exceptions. You even create linguistic exceptions. You fuel division, you don't erase it. By making people's race or gender or sexuality the primary determiner of whatever they call their identity, you're dividing people up into smaller and smaller, more granular categories, setting them against each other when they should be uniting against common foes. I don't like you because you try to police language, and you try to redefine language, and if we can't agree on the meaning of terms, then we can't communicate. Your persistent efforts to redefine sexism, racism and other issues as things beyond what they actually mean, or to give them only specific, obscure technical meanings, is fundamentally dishonest and a counter to people finding common ground and a counter to clear communication. Why do you do it? A counter argument I've seen is that atheists use the scientific meaning of the term theory. Well, that's an established term. Nobody is trying to change the overall informal meaning of theory. Instead, they're invoking the specific meaning, scientific theory. If you want to talk about systemic or systematic racism, what's the problem with saying systemic or systematic racism, rather than redefining racism as it's used generally by everyone to describe a phenomena, the one that's punishable in law? You seem to be trying to salve your own egos, your own bigotry, by redefining these terms to exclude you from being subject to them. And it's just dishonest. I don't like you because you tell people to educate themselves rather than trying to make a cogent argument of your own. And you're not there to educate people. You're there to convince people. You're not spouting some unassailable truth from the mountaintop. You're making an argument, and arguments are subject to skepticism, which you can't stand, counter-argument, which you can't abide, and alternative points of view, which you try to eliminate. I don't like you because you're hypocrites, you're cowards, you're inconsistent, you've betrayed everything that you claim to be fighting on behalf of. You have undermined the freedom of the internet. You have usurped, controlled or censored people's free expression. You get in the way of art, you get in the way of writing, you get in the way of games, you get in the way of news, you get in the way of everything, screaming and stamping your foot and demanding that you get your way, rather than policing yourself, rather than taking responsibility and control for yourself. I believe in the arguments of the liberal left as it was, and I believe that they can stand on their own 2 feet without you trying to control everyone else. I think they are convincing. I think they have the facts behind them, but the arguments that you're making do not, and you're undermining and putting at risk the entire project of social progress with your stupidity and your childishness, your hypocrisy, your abandonment of reason, and your attacks on everyone and everything else, everything that's outside your context, your little bubble, your little social bubble. I just don't like you. If you like what I do here, please like, subscribe, share on your social media, and if you feel so inclined, you can support me on Patreon at Grimatude. My main website is postmortemstudios.wordpress.com. And there, or on Twitter, you can keep up with me and everything that I'm doing.